So I just finished another session with the Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales Prologue Demo. Well, technically I didn't finish it. I played for about an hour, saved my game at the start of the second dungeon, and I immediately felt like talking about everything while it was still fresh in my head. Honestly, the more I played this demo, the more impressed I became. Because sometimes you play a demo and you see the cracks. You can see the rough edges. You can see the systems that still need work or mechanics that don't quite come together. But with Elliot, I'm having the opposite experience. The more time I spend with it, the harder it becomes to find something I genuinely dislike. And that's a pretty rare thing. The easiest way I can describe this demo is that it feels incredibly well made. Not flashy, not revolutionary, not trying to reinvent gaming, just incredibly well crafted. Everything feels like it's built with intention. The environments are beautiful. The combat feels responsive. The presentation is excellent. The menus are stylish. The music is great. The sound design is incredible. The characters are memorable. And the pacing is fantastic. Every piece feels like it's pulling in the same direction. And when a game reaches that point, you stop noticing individual systems and start appreciating the whole package. That's where I'm at with Elliot. One of the things I appreciate the most is the pacing of the story, because JRPGs can sometimes fall into a trap. They introduce a world, then immediately spend 40 minutes explaining every political faction, every kingdom, every magical artifact, every historical event, every prophecy, every war, every bloodline. And by the time they're done, you've forgotten why you started playing in the first place. Elliot doesn't do that. The game gives you enough information to understand what's happening and then gets out of your way. It trusts the player. It doesn't feel the need to explain every tiny detail. The story just keeps moving. Characters say what they need to say, you understand your objective, and then you're back playing the game. It's such a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference. I've never once found myself sitting through dialogue thinking, okay, when does this end? Because everything feels appropriately sized. Every scene serves a purpose. And because of that, the story stays engaging. The main character also is surprisingly easy to connect with. Within the first hours, you understand exactly who Elliot is. He's an orphan. He was saved by an adventurer when he was a baby 20 years ago. Now he wants to become a great adventurer himself. Partly because he admires those heroes, partly because he wants to protect people, and partly because he wants to support the orphanage that raised him. It's a simple motivation, it's clear, and it's effective. You immediately understand why he's doing what he's doing. And while he's definitely a little bit of a yes man at times, he agrees to almost every request thrown at him. You can also understand why. He's genuinely trying to help. And he's the type of character who sees a problem and immediately wants to solve it. It's hard not to like somebody like that. What I find interesting is that the story doesn't immediately focus on Elliot. Instead, it focuses on the situation surrounding him. The kingdom, the ruins, the king, the advisor, the princess. the political tension that's slowly building in the background. That decision makes the world feel bigger because Elliot isn't the center of everything. He's just one piece on the board, and there are already players moving pieces around before he even enters the picture. The standout character for me so far is Skyfried, not because I like him, but because he feels believable. He's clearly manipulating events. He's clearly presenting one motivation while hiding another. Every conversation he has feels calculated. When he talks about helping the princess, you immediately get the feeling that helping the princess isn't actually the goal. It's just an argument he's using to convince the king. And that's good character writing, because villains become more interesting when they're thinking several moves ahead. You get the sense that Kayfried is constantly playing chess while everybody else thinks they're having a conversation. And then there's the combat. Honestly, it's just good. Sometimes that's all there is to say. You have light attacks, charged attacks, blocking, good movement, jumping, and shield usage. Later, you gain access to things like the boomerang, giving the player a ranged combat option. Everything feels responsive. Everything feels fluid. The character moves exactly how I expect him to move, and that's something I value a lot. The game doesn't fight against the player. The controls sort of disappear and you just play the game. I found myself strafing attacks instead of blocking, positioning around enemies and experimenting with charged attacks. And because I'm playing on a higher difficulty, every encounter carries a little bit more tension. Even the first boss had me paying attention. I wasn't just mindlessly mashing buttons. I actually had to think. And that's always a good sign. The environments deserve special praise. This game has a beautiful art style, not because it's technically impressive, not because it's pushing hardware, but because it understands color, composition, and atmosphere. Every area feels distinct. Every location has its own identity. You move from lush green environments into desert-like areas, from villages into ruins, from overworld exploration into dungeons, and each transition feels meaningful. The world doesn't feel repetitive, it feels alive, and that's one of the hardest things for a fantasy game to accomplish. I have to give credit to the artists because these people are absolutely cooking. Every screen looks handcrafted. Every menu feels designed specifically for this world. Nothing feels generic. Even simple things like inventory screens and equipment menus have personality. A lot of games treat UI as a necessity. This game treats UI as part of the experience, and it shows. You can tell the team genuinely cares about presentation. The dungeons are another highlight. They're structured exactly how I want these types of dungeons to be structured. You fight enemies, you find keys, you solve puzzles, you unlock doors, you discover shortcuts, you clear combat rooms, then eventually you reach a boss. It's simple, classic, and effective. The pacing is excellent. The dungeons never overstay their welcome. They're long enough to feel satisfying, but short enough that you're always excited to see what's next. That's a difficult balance to achieve. Now, let's talk about the thing that surprised me the most, the sound design. Because I genuinely love the sound design in this game. The jingles, the chimes, the item pickup sounds, the menu sounds, the little audio cues that happen throughout exploration. Everything feels satisfying. Everything feels rewarding. And I know that sounds like a small thing, but it's not. Good sound design changes how a game feels. It reinforces actions and it makes rewards feel rewarding. It gives personality to a world. There were moments where I literally turned down other audio elements because I wanted to hear the sound effects more clearly. That's how much I like them. The biggest compliment I can give this demo is actually very simple. I've now played it multiple times and I still enjoy it because replaying something is usually when flaws start becoming obvious. That's when the magic starts fading. That's when you notice rough edges. But replaying Elliot hasn't had that effect. If anything, it's made me appreciate the game even more. I'm noticing more details, more care, more thoughtfulness, more craftsmanship, and that's a really good sign. At the end of the day, this is still a demo. I haven't played the full game. I don't know if the quality remains this high throughout the entire experience. There could absolutely be issues later on, but based purely on what I've played so far, this is one of the most impressive JRPG demos I've played in a long time. It feels confident, it feels polished, it feels like a team that knew exactly what kind of game they wanted to make and then executed on that vision extremely well. Honestly, I don't think fans of classic top-down JRPGs, Zelda-style dungeons, adventure games and pixel art RPGs are even going to have a decision to make. This isn't a maybe. This isn't a wait for reviews. This is a put it on your radar immediately.